1, 2, 3, 4, let's go.
It's Heartbeat.
It's a fabulous show.
Alaska.
Hi, Heartbeat Alaska.
It's Heartbeat. Alaska.
Pull up a chair and enjoy the show.
Hear it from Sitka to Barrow. Gather around for Jeanie's show. It's the Aleut, the Indian, and the Eskimo. It's the Aleut, the Indian, and the Eskimo.
Welcome one, welcome all.
Hello and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Information. I'm Jeanie Greene. Thank you so very much for joining us. Today we have a program on healing. Now, don't go away. This is very important. Healing is so very important for all people, whether you're native or non-native, whether you're an elder or a youth. Life begins with healing, dealing with things in life that are difficult and keeping you from going ahead. Today we look at a group of people in interior Alaska, Athabascans, and we find out how they're healing. We travel to Healy Lake and visit with people from a village who lost their elders and are coming back together, meeting and doing something about those feelings and those losses. It's a fabulous show. I'll be back with Healy Lake right after this. Each week, Heartbeat Alaska brings you great stories from all over the state. And we couldn't do it without the generous support of Frontier Flying Service. Frontier gets our camera crews where they need to go. So whenever you see a Frontier plane, give them a wave.
Say hi from Nuxet.
You might just be on Heartbeat Alaska.
Frontier Flying Service, covering Alaska for over 50 years.
For generations, the Chupik Eskimos of Nunivak Island have maintained the finest herd of reindeer anywhere in the world. The flavor and nutrition of these magnificent free-range deer is unmatched and is now available in commercial USDA-inspected lots. This is the only official outlet for authentic Nunivak reindeer meat. For more information or to place an order, contact Nunavut Reindeer and Seafood Products, Box 42, McCormick, Alaska 99630, or call 907-827-8015. Supplies are limited.
He asks the tough questions. He won't settle for just any answer. They call him the investigator.
So who's throwing the party? What time are you coming home? Will there be drugs there? You know that includes marijuana.
When it comes to getting the facts, his job is never done.
Carmen's with the usual friends. Be back by 11.
Come on. Dad doesn't have to know everything.
Actually, he does.
He asks the questions that help his daughter stay away from drugs. The investigator. He's a dad keeping marijuana out of his daughter's life. You're more powerful than you know.
Welcome back. The people of Healy Lake, Alaska were once a proud people. Athabascans, nomads traveling the land, making a way of life for themselves. And then in the 1940s, their tribe was decimated. 200 of them lost their lives. They're making their way back now, and the journey begins with coming together. Chief Healy founded the village of Healy Lake in the early 1900s. The original village site sits a few miles up the Tanana River. Those who settled were members of many nomadic bands living in the area. These bands were made up of survivalists, people who traveled with the seasons, people who knew and understood the land upon which they lived. The Athabascan women represented strength as much as the men did. It was a way of life that took the cooperation of the entire band to exist. Healy Lake matriarch Ellen Demit is one of the last living elders from her village. Ellen recalls her past and life in Healy Lake.
Healy Lake, the people all tough, just we work hard. Not one of them have without never do nothing. That's where I come out and that's where I grown up. We all work hard. And sometime all little village people get together. We had dinner and biscuit and beans and soup and a special food, and we cook for each other, and We sit out there on the grass, on the ground, and we eat. And I raised 3 kids without father. I be father and mother, both, and go out on the land. We go on the lake this way with paddle, way in the back, Healy Lake. Summertime, if we don't have no food, we got short, we have to get our moose, not more than 2, just 1. Gotta be bull moose, no cow. Our chief against that, so that a culture we still carry on.
There. This could go. Here we have some moose head soup, freshly made. Roasted porcupine. Here I got some moose bones, some meat and rice, moose meat rice, moose fry meat. Here we got some roasted beaver, fresh cabbage from the garden. Here we have some ducks, a couple of mallards, a couple of butter balls, some roasted porcupine. Here I have some zucchini, fresh zucchini from the garden, some fresh potatoes from the garden, some bannock, homemade bread, and my name is Mike. Thank you very much.
And although their culture still does carry on to this day, it has been a huge struggle for the people of this Athabascan village. Once home to almost 300 people, Healy Lake now sits nestled between lake and forest, home for only a handful of residents. In the early 1940s, the face of Healy Lake would change forever.
In 1941, 42, the Army started their maneuvers through here. They came out, they made a tank trail across the river into the lake on the north side. And they were doing their exercise trainings out here, and what they brought with them was tuberculosis and measles, you know, things that the people here, they had no immunities built up to fight the diseases off, and the whole village died off within a 6-month period in 1943.
What it all boiled down to was everyone always brought us back to what we consider the beginning of our time. Things are always brought back to the end of our village as we knew it back in the 1940s. Illness had decimated the village, and the families that hadn't died at the village, there was a handful of survivors left, and they relocated out toward the highway, and many more died there at a place we call Little Gersel. And the handful that was left dispersed up the highway to the other villages, to Dot Lake, Tanacross, and Northway, and Toke. And that was the generation of my mother. All I had left at that point of our particular family was my grandmother and my mother. My grandmother had lost 14 children to that epidemic, and my mother was her last surviving child of 15. And then there were us, the 3 grandchildren left. There was myself and my 2 brothers, Pat and Ben.
I have a lot to learn yet. Basically, I'm a chief in training, and I know I'm a young guy to be a chief. But, like I said, we're unlimited people, and somebody's got to step up to do it. And I believe in what I'm doing.
This is Ben Saylor. Though merely 35 years old, he is first chief of Healy Lake. He has been saddled with this responsibility at such a young age because the epidemic took so many people who would be elders today. He is brother to Joann and a descendant of Chief Healy.
The uncles and the younger men, we lost a lot of those. That's some of your teachers, your finest teachers. Like us to our nephews now. We take out the younger ones, we show them how to hunt ducks, take care of their gun. The gun is a tool. You don't hurt people with it, you point it into the air. Use it to get the food for your family.
Patrick Saylor is the 3rd descendant of Chief Healy. He is former chief for 2 terms and deals with many parks and wildlife issues in the area. He lives in the village year-round, like his brother, and strongly works to preserve and support subsistence issues.
I want to see the village survive, our way of life survive. And we respect all people, and that we want basically the same thing as all people. You know, this is America, and we could be in a worse place where they could just line us up against the wall and shoot us down. But you know, a slow death is worse than a quick one too. You know, 'cause
the village is experiencing a surge of life. Family members from Tanana, Canada, Dot Lake, Fairbanks, and various other places have come back home to take part in a wellness symposium.
My original last name is Healy. I'm one of the last of the direct descendants of the Healy band, and there's not too many of us left alive. We've had a string of tragedies in the last few months, and there's been a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. And, you know, for an individual to keep that bottled up and keep it inside, it'll always stay with you. So we got together and trying to let all that hurt and pain go all at once and share our pain and let our emotions, let each of us know how the other person's feeling and try to set it all behind us.
It is a process, and that's what we're trying to put you through these 4 days, is a process to look at, you know, what is truth, some of the distortions that we've been given, some of the things that have happened that we've pushed down, we repressed, give you a process to understand what is grief, what is loss.
Their goal is to look the past boldly in the face and deal with the pain so that they can move forward and revive their village. Transitions, the company hired to give the Wellness Symposium, aims at healing the hurt that many Alaska Natives feel due to past transgressions upon their spirit.
We have a relaxation exercise that we want to put you through.
The families of Healy Lake took this time to look into the past with open eyes and chase down any lingering emotions and discard them.
What Jesse and I do are introduce people to a process. All of our classes are putting them through a process where we learn to identify what is race, what is culture, what is ethnicity, how does that impact our day-to-day life. We take a look at what is racial prejudice so that we understand it, and then we also take a look at racism, because racism is different from racial prejudice. And we do that element so that we understand the dynamics of what we're talking about, the foundation, the fundamentals. After we've taken care of understanding the fundamentals, then we look at how those myths act out in our world, how we play them out. If we have a belief system that says that one group is less than, that we make that a reality. And then we look at stereotyping, we'll look at destruction of culture, and that's what we were looking at yesterday, is the destruction of the native culture, the native way of life. And after we've looked at how ugly it is, we always believe that there's hope. We always believe that there's healing. We believe that if you know the path taking you in there, you can find the path to take you out.
I pushed away a lot of my family, my friends, my close friends, stuff like that. I share my griefs with everybody among my family.
Another ancestral family from Healy Lake is known today by the surname Luke. Tim Luke survived the epidemic when he was small. He is now one of the few elders left to share stories of the old days.
TB almost killed me. My dad lost 3 one winter due to TB. And he kept until the spring, snow was all gone, until the ground thawed out so he can bury him by himself. When I came back, I didn't even recognize my own mom and dad. Or let alone speak their language. Because where I went to school, they'd punish us for using our language. So right now, my son is speaking more Indian than I can.
The word loss has much meaning for the people of Healy Lake. Loss of language, loss of knowledge, loss of stories, and most importantly, loss of their own people. And as if they hadn't already been through enough, another one of their own was in need of emergency medical attention. Early in the Wellness Symposium, 2-year-old baby Nani would need to be medevaced to Anchorage, where she was admitted into the hospital.
Right ahead, Ray.
Another way that the families have dealt with the past is to work towards locating the other members of their family who didn't make it through the epidemic. One family member has made it home at last. 8-year-old Charlie Healy passed on during the 6-month epidemic. His body was reclaimed by the tribe and brought to rest in the village graveyard. Charlie Healy was brought home to a gathering of loved ones who sang, danced, and held a potlatch in his honor. For Grandma Ellen, it was a circle completed. Her nephew Charlie was finally home.
Grandma Ellen, she is such a source of inspiration to us all. Grandma Ellen was, I believe, just about the last person, her husband, and her surviving children, to leave Healy Lake after the epidemic. They were alone there, and right before they left, she had twin children, and they died. And her husband had to bury them alone before they left that place.
But Ellen has continued to move forward. She seems to embody the spirit of her people. Throughout the symposium, she sat quietly and listened to what Mae and Jesse had to say. She seemed to take it all in and weigh each piece of information fairly.
And I want you to visualize your lost pot, your lost basket. And what I want you to do is I want you to reach in and take out that first thing on your list and put it in the fold of your paper. Sometimes people need a visual or an actual physical process to be able to let go of something that they're holding on to. It's not healthy to hold on to resentment, to anger, to fear within your heart, because it's not healthy for you. It can end up impacting your health. So what we did is we asked every participant to take a piece of paper to go through the process of writing down 3 things that they would like to release. Then they took that piece of paper, they folded it, and I asked them to visually go into their hearts, remove that hurt, place it in the paper for all 3 of those items. Once they had it, they closed up that piece of paper and they threw it into the fire, which represents the love of God. So love destroys all that hate, all that anger, all that anguish, and that's symbolically what we did. We destroyed at least 3 things in every person that was part of the group. So this morning we had 7 participants. So that's 21 less ugly things that people are carrying around, and it impacts our community. And if we learn to do that on a daily basis, to take care of our hurts, to take care of that anger and that anguish, then we don't carry it with us, and it would impact our whole world.
With the end of the symposium and the beginning of a night-long cultural celebration, the people of Healy Lake take on a special glint in their eyes as they begin to dance. Though the people of Healy Lake have strong figures such as Ellen to instill tribal values in their youth, they realize they are in transition. They do everything with such pride and grace that their hope for the future seems well-founded. Sonny Luke is a shining example of what the future holds.
When I was born, my mom and dad considered me a ray of sunshine in their life to see I was adopted. My biological mom is Mary Luke. Her parents are Abraham Luke from Good Pasture and Eva Sam Luke from here in Sam Lake area. I was raised by a lot of natives around me, elders, a lot of respect, a lot of listening, and we go to potlatch, they teach you the do's and the don'ts, and it just intrigued me to watch them sing, and the elders sing and the youth sing, and ever since then, it's just my joy. I'd do that as a baby. I'd hit my high chair with a spoon, try to mimic them, and I try to hum what they're saying. And so ever since growing up, that's what I did, And so just always, wherever I went to potlatch, I would try to learn the songs and listen very closely and learn it right way and ask questions when I get one-on-one.
Sonny teaches drumming to youth in Fairbanks. He considers drumming as a gift to give to others.
It's my joy, and I love to drum wherever I can. I'm not trying to make a name for myself or nothing. It's just something I love and enjoy to do, and I teach it to little kids at FNA Head Start in Fairbanks. And it doesn't matter what ethnicity you come from, I'm willing to, as long as I teach you in the right way, I learn in the right way to share it to you in the right way.
Then Saylor takes a moment to rest and tighten his drum over the fire.
You wet the strings on the back, and then when they dry up, they contract, and it tightens the drum, so that's how it tunes it.
This get-together here it's real important to us because it's the first time our tribe has got together on a more happier occasion, because usually when we get together it's because somebody has passed away or things of that sort, you know. So I really think this is a good thing that's happening here, you know. It's putting positive energy into our tribe. We're getting to know each other again, and maybe that'll have an impact on how they feel about maybe possibly moving home sometime in the future. We can get projects generated here, you know, such as using our timber resource, milling our own wood, and things of that nature. Maybe doing some sightseeing tours.
Just want to let everybody know we got a little bit of good news. My niece Jeannie's baby is off the ventilator and she's starting to breathe on her own now, so.
Wow.
Our prayers are getting answered.
We have followed this timeline from the conception of the village to the present, watching the procession of events through the eyes of the people. Who knows what the future holds for the people of Healy Lake? The only thing for certain is that in this well-cared for and historically rich community, trials that would tear apart some have brought many together, and this won't change anytime soon. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Native Information. I'm Jeanie Greene.
Since you guys talk about Jeanie Greene's movie, I always watch. I always watch the end. I like listen to her word. He said, "Be God bless you. See you next week."
God bless you. We'll see you again next week.